Good morning, students. This is, I think, a fourth lecture for NMR spectroscopy. In previous lecture, we discussed about the simplification of complex and what is complex NMR spectroscopy and its simplification. That is the simplification of complex NMR spectra. And we already covered the two simplification techniques. One is double resonance technique. The other one is use of lanthanide shift reagents. So with the help of lanthanide shift reagents, we simplified the complex NMR spectrum into a simple NMR. Now the today's class include another two techniques for simplification. One is nuclear over-Raman enhancement technique for simplification. Other one is the increased field strength for simplification. So these are the two leftover simplification techniques in your syllabus. Now let us discuss about nuclear, a third method for simplification. Nuclear over-Raman enhancement. Abbreviated as NOE, nuclear over-Raman enhancement. In the abbreviated form, it is called as NOE. Now, NOE is an instrumental method useful for the simplification of complex NMR spectrum. Now, in the simplification method involving use of lanthanide shift reagents, where the spectrum is simplified, where in the lanthanide use of lanthanide shift reagents, where the overlapped signals are completely separated, where the overlapped signals in the previous method of simplification, say this is quartet signal, say this is triplet signal, the overlapped signals are separated from each other. So that is the lanthanide shift reagents usage. Now coming to NOE, NOE is an instrumental method used for the simplification of complex NMR spectrum, where the overlapped signals are not separated from each other. The overlapped signals, say quartet and triplet, are not overlapped. The overlapped signals are not separated from each other. But in another way, it helps to study or it helps to interpret the spectrum. Now coming to the principle. Now in the NOE method, it is possible to enhance the intensity of any one of the overlapped signal. For example, you take chloro CH2 CH2 Br, chlorobromo ethane, say proton A proton B. Now triplet for CH2Cl, triplet for CH2Br. So because of low frequency difference, the two triplet signals get overlapped. A signal, B signal, A triplet, B triplet. Now A triplet signal and triplet signal for B sets of proton, because of low frequency difference, are overlapped. It resulted a complex spectrum. Complex spectrum. Now through the NOE technique, we can increase. Now when we get the complex spectrum, it does not replace there are two signals in the spectrum, as the signals are overlapped, not possible to identify there are two signals existed in the spectrum. Similarly, not possible to extract the delta value and J value, which already we discussed. Now in the NOE technique, where any one of the overlapped signal intensity will be raised, increased, to identify its multiplicity. For example, now this is the first spectrum, that is a complex spectrum. Now with the help of NOE technique, now this is A signal, this is B signal. Now with the help of NOE technique, we can increase the intensity of any of the overlapped signal. Now in the first case, we are unable to identify the number of signals and the multiplicities because of overlapping. Now in the second case, one signal intensity will be increased, that indicated there is a triplet, 1 2 3, a triplet, that is B proton multiplicity is related to a triplet. In the same way, we can also increase the intensity of first set. Say this is A, this is B. So in this way, we can increase the intensity of any one of the overlapped proton to get the information. Now in the first case, when we improve the intensity of B proton, that indicated it is a signal of triplet. So B proton appear as a triplet. Now when we improve the first set of proton intensity, leaving second set, this first set of proton intensity improvement gives about again 1 2 3 line intensity increment, indicated A proton is also a triplet. A is also triplet. Now you take the first spectrum, where the first spectrum we are unable to predict the multiplicity because of overlapping. We don't know what is the multiplicity for A, what is the multiplicity of B. When we increase intensity of any one overlapped, if we increase the intensity of B set of proton, then 3 line intensity will be increased, indicated it's a triplet. Now when we improve the intensity of A set of proton, again 3 line intensity will be increased for its signal 1 2 3, indicated a triplet. So exactly this is happening in NOE technique. So NOE technique is useful. For example, in a simplified way, say it is a quartet, this is the triplet. When overlapped, we are unable to predict the number of signals and multiplicity, etc. Now if we improve the intensity of one signal, now what you are looking, say it is a quartet, so we are getting some information while increase the intensity, or you may improve the intensity of the signal keeping the quartet as such. Now what it indicated, the first signal increment indicated a quartet signal, the second signal intensity increment indicated a triplet signal. So exactly this is happened in the NOE technique. Now so in the NOE technique, the signal multiplicity and number of signals were identified by increasing the intensity of any of the overlapped signal, called as NOE effect. Now how it is possible to improve the intensity? That is, we can improve the intensity of any signal if we improve the lifetime of that proton in its higher spin state or beta spin state. Now again, say Cl CH2 CH2 Br. Suppose if we want to increase, say a spin state, alpha spin state and beta spin state, alpha spin state, beta spin state for say CH2Cl, CH2Cl. Now this is the spectrum. A proton, B proton with a complex spectrum. Now coming to the improvement of intensity of a signal. Say A proton, CH2Cl proton alpha spin state, beta spin state. Suppose if we want to improve intensity for CH2Cl proton, then we have to improve its lifetime in its beta spin state. That is, this is the beta spin state. It is possible to improve the intensity of any proton signal in the spectrum by increasing the lifetime of that proton in its beta spin state. Once we improve the nuclei lifetime in its beta spin state, then its intensity will be improved in the spectrum. Now a question, a doubt. How can, now we have a clarity about how to improve the intensity. So in order to improve the intensity of the signal in the spectrum, the lifetime of that particular proton to be improved in the beta spin state. Now we have a doubt, how can we improve the lifetime of a proton nuclei in its beta spin state? By preventing its relaxation. By preventing its relaxation. By preventing its relaxation. Before that, now when a nuclei present in the lower spin state, when we supply radio frequency to the nuclei of lower spin state, when we supply radio frequency energy to the nuclei present in the lower spin state, that is alpha spin state, it undergo transition. It undergo transition to its beta spin state. Again, a beta spin state nuclei come back to alpha spin state. Come back to alpha spin state by the loss of its excess energy. Loss of energy. Loss of its excess energy. Is it clear? So a nuclei of lower spin state, when we provide radio frequency to that, it absorbed and undergo transition from alpha spin state to beta spin state. Then again the beta spin state nuclei, by the process of loss of excess energy, it again come back to alpha spin state. Is it clear? Now, in order to come back a beta spin state nuclei to its alpha spin state, it must lose energy. Excess energy must be lost. Then only possible to come back to its alpha position or original position or ground state. Now, a beta spin state nuclei, to come back to alpha spin state, it transfers its excess energy. It transfers its excess energy to its nearby protons. To its nearby protons. The excess energy, the energy is transferred to nearby protons. Nearby protons. You see a simple mechanism. When energy is supplied, it may absorb and undergo transition to beta spin state. Again it come back to alpha spin state by transferring its energy, excess energy, to the nearby protons. Nearby means a protons very close to the nuclei present in the beta spin state, called as nearby protons. Or in other words, a beta spin state nuclei transfers its excess energy to the nearby proton, which are separated by less than 1.4 angstroms. Less than 1.4 angstroms distance. The internuclei distance between the nuclei of beta spin state and the other nearby nuclei should be less than 1.4 angstroms. Are you following? You see, a simple mechanism is involved, where the beta spin state nuclei transfers its excess energy to the nearby proton separated from it by less than 1.4 angstroms. Is it clear? Then after transferring its energy, it come back to its alpha position. The process is called as relaxation. The process is called as relaxation. Is it clear? Now, if we prevent the transfer of energy from beta spin state nuclei to the nearby nuclei or nearby proton, if we prevent this process, what happens? If we prevent the transfer of energy from beta spin state to the other nearby protons, then what happens? The beta state nuclei is unable to transfer its excess energy, hence it still remain existed in the beta spin state. Only if transfers its excess energy, it come back to alpha. Now we are going to prevent. We are going to prevent the transfer of excess energy from beta spin state nuclei to the nearby proton separated from it by less than 1.4 angstroms. Then we stop it. The energy, if we stopped the transfer from beta spin state to the other proton, nearby proton, what happens? The beta state nuclei remain in the beta spin state. Therefore, lifetime increases. Lifetime increases. Thereby, the lifetime of nuclei in the beta spin state increases. When the lifetime increases, what happens? Its signal intensity in the spectrum increases. Intensity increases. The intensity increases. You see the consequences. When energy is supplied to nuclei of lower spin state, undergo transition to higher spin state, that is beta spin state. Again it come back to alpha spin state by the transfer of excess energy to the nearby proton, which are separated from it by less than 1.4 angstroms. Is it clear? This is the cycle process. Next, if we stop the transfer of excess energy from beta spin state nuclei to the nearby proton, the cross mark indicated stopped the transfer of excess energy. What happens? When energy is unable to transfer, the beta state nuclei remain in the beta spin state. So that leads to increase its lifetime in the beta spin state. When the lifetime of nuclei increases in its higher spin state, that is beta spin state, its intensity increased in the spectrum. Is it clear? Now we have a doubt. How can we stop this energy transfer? Just now we discussed the excess energy must be transferred to the only nearby proton. That means a proton separated from it by less than 1.4 angstroms. If we saturate all the nearby protons, with external energy, when we saturate all the nearby proton to which energy is transferred from beta spin state nuclei, we initially, if we saturate with a correct frequency, what happens? The nearby protons are unable to take further energy from beta spin state, as we are already saturated them. So all the nearby proton, if we saturated, they are unable to take energy, accept energy from beta state nuclei. Thereby energy transfer is stopped and its lifetime increases, intensity increases. So this is called as NOE technique. So once again, where the NOE technique can also be used for simplification, where the signal can be interpreted by the process of increasing intensity. So intensity of any signal will be improved or increased in the spectrum if we increase the lifetime of that nuclei in its beta spin state by preventing its relaxation process or by preventing its energy transfer to nearby proton by the process of already saturated with a correct frequency, saturating all the nearby proton with a correct frequency. So this process is called as nuclear over other enhancement technique. So with this, the third simplification technique is completed. Next, coming to fourth one. Now fourth and last technique of simplification, increased field strength. Increased field strength. This is another process for simplification. Increased the application of field strength means increased external magnetic field application, field strength H0. Increasing the application of external magnetic field to the spinning nuclei leads to a simplified version or simplified spectrum, so called as increased field strength. Let us study, or let us discuss its principle. What is the exact principle involved when we increase the field strength of application to spinning nuclei? How it becomes simplified? Is it clear? Now, in the first semester, we have studied that when a nuclei, say this is the nuclei, now this is the nuclei, when nuclei precises its vertical axis along with the electron cloud, it produces certain amount of secondary magnetic field. Further, the magnetic field is produced when a nuclei rotates in a bent manner called as precessional motion or precessional rotation. So the secondary magnetic field is produced for a spinning nuclei when it spins around its vertical axis in a bent manner called as precessional, with some speed called as precessional frequency. Precessional frequency, that the speed of rotation of nuclei in a bent manner is called as precessional frequency. Now, when the precessional frequency, say a nuclei precises with some speed, whatever it may be. Now, when the precessional frequency become equal to frequency of instrument, precessional frequency become equal to frequency of instrument. Are you following? A nuclei, spin active nuclei, precises in a bent manner with some speed called as precessional motion and precessional frequency. Then a secondary magnetic field, certain amount of own magnetic field is produced for that nuclei. Now, a bent manner rotation is called as precessional rotation with some whatever the speed associated is called as precessional frequency. Further, when precessional frequency become equal to frequency of instrument called as resonance condition. That means when the speed of nuclei rotation, that is precessional frequency, become equal to instrument frequency of instrument, the condition is called as resonance. Only under the resonance condition we can get the spectrum. The spectrum is obtained. The NMR spectrum is obtained. Only under the conditions of resonance the spectrum is obtained. So a simple principle. What we learned about a nuclei, spin active nuclei, precises with some speed called as precessional frequency. When the precessional frequency become equal to frequency of instrument is called as a resonance condition. Only we are getting a spectrum. The spectrum is obtained only under the conditions of resonance. Is it clear? Now, with respect to this, now if we keep our nuclei, in 60 megahertz instrument, this is instrumental frequency. If we keep the nuclei in 60 megahertz operating instrument, then what happens? The precessional frequency of a proton become equal to instrument called as resonance. Just now we discussed. When we keep a proton nuclei in 60 megahertz operating instrument, what will be the precessional frequency for proton? It is equal to instrument, that become equal to 60 megahertz. Similarly, the same nuclei, if we keep in 100 megahertz instrument, what happens? The nuclei precessional frequency become 100 megahertz. Why it becoming equal? When it becoming equal, called as resonance, only under resonance condition the spectrum will be recorded. Is it clear? Now here it is 60. Are you following? A proton nuclei, when we keep in the 60 megahertz instrument, its precessional frequency become equal to 60 megahertz. The same proton, if kept under 100 megahertz instrument, that is, we are kept under 100 megahertz instrument, the precessional frequency of the proton become 100 megahertz. If we keep in 200 megahertz, then the precessional frequency become equal to 200 megahertz. Similarly, if we keep under 300 megahertz, it become equal to 300 megahertz. The nuclei is the same, but what is the change? The instrumental frequency is different. The precessional frequencies are depends upon instrumental frequency. That is, with respect to the instrument in which we are going to record the NMR spectrum. Is it clear? A simple way. When we keep the nuclei under 60 megahertz instrument, its frequency become equal to precessional frequency, speed become equal to 60. When we kept under 100 megahertz, the speed become equal to 100. The nuclei precessional frequency become 100. If we keep in 200 megahertz instrument, it become equal to 200. Now, if we keep in 300, it become equal to 300 because of resonance. When we keep the nuclei in the 60 megahertz, then the precessional frequency become 60 megahertz equal to instrument, that is 60 megahertz. This is resonance. These two are 100. This is instrument frequency. This is nuclear precessional frequency. Resonance, resonance, resonance. Only from the resonance condition we may record the spectrum. Is it clear? Now coming to application of H0. This is precessional frequency. Precessional frequencies of nuclei 60 megahertz, 100 megahertz, 200, 300 megahertz. Instrumental frequency 60 megahertz, 100 megahertz, 200 megahertz and 300 megahertz. Is it clear? Coming to H0. Now, when we keep our proton nuclei in the 60 megahertz instrument, its speed of rotation, precessional frequency become equal to 60 megahertz. When a nuclei precises with a 60 megahertz speed, it requires, then we have to apply external magnetic field. For what purpose? To split the degenerated energy state of that nuclei into energy level. That already studied in the first semester. Now again, when we keep the nuclei in a 60 megahertz instrument, the precessional frequency, speed of rotation of nuclei become equal to 60. When a nuclei precises with 60 megahertz precessional frequency, it requires external magnetic field about 1.32 Tesla. 1.32 Tesla. Are you following? A nuclei, if precises with 60 megahertz frequency, precessional frequency, in that nuclei, in order to split its degenerated energy state into energy level, we should apply about 1.32 Tesla external magnetic field. Is it clear? Now, the same proton, the same nuclei, if we kept under 100 megahertz instrument, its precessional frequency become increased to 100, 60 to 100. So the same nuclei, if precises with 100 megahertz frequency, in that its degenerated energy state to be split only by the application of external magnetic field about 1.54 Tesla. Are you following? To split the degenerated energy state of a nuclei, precising with 100 MHz speed, precisional frequency, we should apply 1.54 Tesla external magnetic field. Similarly, a nuclei kept in the 200 MHz instrument precises with 200 MHz speed. For that nuclei, we should apply about 2.38 Tesla external magnetic field. 2.38 Tesla external magnetic field. Similarly, the last one, if a nuclei precises with 300 MHz speed, when it precises, when we keep it in a 300 MHz instrument, operating instrument, then to split the degenerated energy state of a nuclei precising with 300 MHz speed, it requires 2.54 Tesla external magnetic field. Are you following? These are the precisional frequency of the nuclei is the same. Say nuclei may belongs to proton. You imagine the nuclei maybe belongs to proton. Precisional frequencies of protons are respectively 60, 100, 200, 300. Now instrumental frequency 60, 60, 100, 100, 200, 200, 300, 300 to get the resonance condition. Now under this condition, for the first set of nuclei 60 MHz, it requires 1.32 Tesla H0. This requires 1.54 Tesla. It requires 2.38 Tesla. It requires 2.54 Tesla external magnetic field. For what? To split their degenerated energy state to get the energy levels in order to undergo spin transition to record the spectrum. Is it clear? Now coming to here, recording of NMR spectrum under 60 MHz and 100 MHz instrument, where the precisional frequency is low, 100 MHz precisional frequency, 60 MHz precisional frequency, with the application of 1.32, with the application of 1.454 Tesla magnetic field, is called as low resolution. Whatever the spectrum we get, called as low resolution. Low resolution. Low resolution NMR. Low resolution NMR. Now, recording of the same molecule under 200 MHz, 300 MHz, where the 200 MHz associated with the speed of 200 MHz precisional frequency, 300 MHz instrument where the proton precisional frequency is 300 MHz, and we have to apply huge amount of external magnetic field 2.38 Tesla and 2.54 Tesla. So whatever the spectrum we get from 200 MHz and 300 MHz are called as high resolution NMR spectrum. High resolution NMR. High resolution NMR spectrum. Is it clear? Now, the first two, when we record the spectrum either in 60 MHz or either in 100 MHz, we will get the spectrum called as low resolution NMR. I can explain later. Low resolution NMR. The same molecule, if we record in the 200 MHz and the 300 MHz, called as high resolution spectrum. Let us discuss what are the difference between these two, high resolution to low resolution. In the low resolution NMR spectrum, here recorded either in 60 or 100, in the low resolution NMR spectrum, the few multiplicity lines are overlapped. Few multiplicity lines are overlapped. Remain it is complex. Are you following? Low resolution, the name itself indicated low separation of overlapped signals. Low resolution indicates there is a low separation, less separation of overlapped lines. So in the low resolution NMR spectrum, some lines of the multiplicity signals are remain overlapped. Whereas in the high resolution NMR spectrum, all the lines of multiplicity signals are clearly visible. High resolution, the name itself indicated separation of all lines of multiplet signal. So in the high resolution, all the lines of a multiplet signal are clearly visible in the spectrum. called as high resolution NMR spectrum. Is it clear? Now in the low resolution NMR spectrum, remain few lines of the multiplets are overlapped. In the high resolution NMR spectrum, all lines may be clearly seen or clearly visible in the spectrum. Is it clear? Now here few lines are overlapped. Here all lines are separate. I will show some examples, best examples. Few lines are remain overlapped. All lines are clearly seen. So this is achieved from low resolution to high resolution, from overlapping multiplet to non-overlapping multiplet is achieved. From low to high resolution is achieved. How? By increasing the application of external magnetic field, increasing the application of field strength. When we increase the application of external magnetic field from 1.32 to 1.54, from 1.54 to 2.38, from 2.38 to 2.54, what happens? Overlapping signals get removed to give a non-overlapped multiplets, that is high resolution. So as increasing the application of field strength, that means increasing the application of external magnetic field to the spinning nuclei, the spectrums are transforming from low resolution to high resolution. Low resolution means remain overlapped multiplets, lines are overlapped. High resolution means no overlapping. So low resolution to high resolution can be achieved, that is a complex spectrum into a simple NMR spectrum can be obtained as increasing the application of field strength. So application of field strength is always with respect to the precessional frequency of the proton. The precessional frequency of the protons always depends upon instrumental frequency. With respect to instrumental frequency, its precessional frequency will be changed from 60 to 300. So with respect to these two, resonance condition existed. So with respect to these two, precessional frequency and instrumental frequency, we should apply appropriate proportion of external magnetic field, either 2.38 or either 2.54, etc. So in simple way, as improving or increasing the application of external magnetic field to the spinning nuclei, a complex spectrums are transformed into simple. Low resolution are transformed into high resolution. Example. Now, example, you take ethyl alcohol, CH3, CH2OH, ethyl alcohol. This is A set of proton, B set of proton, C set of proton. Now in a simple way, A coupled with 2 proton, 1 plus 2 triplet, 1 plus 2 triplet. B coupled with 3 proton and 1 proton, 4 plus 1 quintet. Now OH proton, C coupled with CH2 proton, 1 plus 2 triplet, 1 plus 2 triplet. Now its spectrum has a triplet for OH proton, triplet for OH proton, quintet for CH2 proton. Again triplet for CH3 proton, A, B, C. This is what we observed in general. One triplet for CH3, quintet for CH2, triplet for OH. This is the spectrum what we observed in general. Actually, theoretically, coming to theory, theoretically, when listen carefully, when a set of proton coupled with n number of equivalent protons, a set of proton coupled with n number of equivalent proton, then the multiplicity will be according to n plus 1. N plus 1. I can write here. When this is the condition existed, when a set of proton coupled with only n number of equivalent set of proton, then its multiplicity will be according to n plus 1 rule. Is it clear? Now, if a set of proton coupled with n number of non-equivalent protons, first condition is what? A set of proton coupled with n number of equivalent proton, then the multiplicity will be n plus 1. If a set of proton coupled with n number of non-equivalent sets of proton, then the multiplicity is further multiplied. These two conditions you clearly observe. A set of proton coupling with only n number of equivalents, n plus 1. If a set of proton coupled with n number of non-equivalent sets, then multiplicity is further multiplied. That is n plus 1 into n plus 1. N plus 1 into n plus 1. Are you following? Now you can see. You apply the same concept to ethyl alcohol. I explained about the theory, exact multiplicity for each set of proton. Now coming to application. A set of proton coupled with B set of proton only. The two proton in the B set are equivalent. So this is the set of proton coupled with only one equivalent set. Therefore n plus 1. Therefore n plus 1. A set of proton coupled with only one equivalent set. Therefore n plus 1. So it is triplet. Similarly C proton. It coupled with only B proton. So this is the set of proton coupled with only one equivalent protons. So again n plus 1 rule is applicable. N plus 1 is applicable to C. According to n plus 1 it becomes triplet. Now coming to CH2 proton. First you observe CH2 set of proton coupled with CH3 proton and OH proton. Is CH3 OH are equivalent? No, they are non-equivalent. Means CH2 proton coupled with CH3 and OH. That is CH2 proton coupled with two non-equivalent sets. This is one equivalent, this is another equivalent. Therefore it is multiplied. N plus 1 into n plus 1. We should calculate in this way. This is actual multiplicity for CH2 proton. Is it clear? So a middle CH2 proton is coupled with two non-equivalent sets. One is the CH3, another one is OH. Then what happens? The multiplicity is further multiplied. What is the first condition? If a set coupled with one only equivalent proton, n plus 1. If a set coupled with n number of non-equivalent, then it should be multiplied. N plus 1 into n plus 1. Now CH2 coupled with CH3 and OH. These are non-equivalent. Under the non-equivalent coupling, the multiplicity should be further multiplied. First, CH2 when coupled with CH3, 3 plus 1. This is for CH3. CH2 when coupled with OH, there is only one, that is 1 plus 1. N is equal, N for CH3 is 3, N for OH is 1. So 3 plus 1, 1 plus 1. That become 4 into 2 is equal to 8 lines. 8 lines. Are you followed? Now, theoretically or actually, CH2 proton is coupled with n number of non-equivalents. Therefore, its multiplicity should be multiplied and appear as 8 lines, not 5 lines. But every time we have seen only 5 lines. Only 5 lines. Actual number of lines for CH2 will be 8. Now, a triplet for CH3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. 1, 2, 3. This is A, this is B, this is C. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. A quintet in the first spectrum. CH2 octet in the second spectrum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, coming to the differences. Actually, the CH2 proton multiplicity should be octet, not a quintet. Is it clear? Now, the first spectrum, however, the CH2, however, split into octet. It always split into octet because of non-equivalent coupling. That is, n plus 1 get multiplied with again n plus 1. So it always split as octet, but because of overlapping of few lines, it look like a quintet. It always split into octet, but due to the overlapping of some lines, it look like its original splitting will be 8, but due to overlapping of lines, it look like a quintet. So in the quintet, there are some lines are overlapped. So this is low resolution NMR. Low resolution NMR spectrum of ethyl alcohol. Now coming to the second. It split 8 line. It appear as 8 line. If appeared 8 lines, it is called as high resolution NMR. High resolution. If all the multiplicity lines are clearly visible in the spectrum, called as high resolution NMR. So when we record the spectrum in the low resolution instrument, we will get a quintet for CH2. When we record the spectrum in high resolution instrument, we will get octet. The actual multiplicity is appear in the high resolution spectrum, whereas in the low resolution spectrum, some lines are hidden because of overlapping. Let us see how they are overlapped. Now in the first two, a CH2 proton before coupling singlet. When coupled with OH proton, when coupled with OH proton, it appear as, when coupled with CH3 proton, it appear as quartet. CH3 coupling. Are you following? CH2 before coupling singlet. Singlet. When coupled with its adjacent CH3 proton, it split into quartet. Now further, the CH2 when coupled with OH, there is only one OH. Each line of the quartet is further split into doublet. 1 plus 1 doublet. This is doublet. Every line is split into doublet. This is also split into doublet, but it is overlapped here. Similarly, this line is also split into doublet, but overlapped with this. This line is also split into doublet, but overlapped here. Are you followed? Now, this is due to OH coupling. Singlet before coupling, a quartet when coupled with CH3. Now when the CH2 coupled with OH proton, every line of quartet is further split into, according to n plus 1, 1 plus 1, 2. So every line of quartet is split into 2 lines. Now this is 2 line. This is a line is split into 2 lines. This line is also split into 2 lines. This line is also split into 2 lines. But what happens? The second line of the first line of the second one is overlapped. Here overlapping, overlapping, overlapping. Finally it gives 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A quintet. This is low resolution. Because of overlapping, a quintet is observed, called as low resolution spectrum. Actually its multiplicity should be octet. Now under high resolution, you see what happens. A CH2 before coupling singlet. When coupled with CH3, it appears as quartet. CH3 coupling. After coupling with OH, every line is split into doublet. 2 lines. It is also doublet. It is also doublet. This is also doublet. Is it clear? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Octet. Actual multiplicity will be octet. Singlet. After coupling with CH3, it becomes quartet. After coupling with OH, every line of the quartet should be split into 2 lines. Now, 2 lines are separately appear, there is no overlapping. In brief, the overall multiplicity become octet. This is called as high resolution. High resolution. High resolution NMR spectrum of ethyl alcohol. Octet is the high resolution, quintet will be the low resolution. The actual resolution will be octet. Now, you take another example. CH3, CH2, CH2, Cl. N-propyl chloride. Now, this is A, this is B, this is C proton. A coupled with only equivalent, one equivalent. So, according to N plus 1, this become triplet. 3 plus 1, it become 1 plus 2, CH3 proton coupled with 2 proton. N value is 2. 2 plus 1, 3. This is triplet. Is it clear? C proton coupled only with B proton, only one equivalent. Therefore, multiplicity is according to N plus 1. So, it coupled with 2 proton. N value is 2. 2 plus 1 is equal to triplet. Now, this proton, it coupled with A proton. When coupled with A proton, it is I am writing here N plus 1 for A proton coupling. It also coupled with C proton. These two are non-equivalent coupling. So it is multiplied N plus 1. This is C proton coupling. Number of A protons are 3. 3 plus 1. Number of C protons are 2. 2 plus 1. Now here 4 into 3 is equal to 12 lines. 12 lines. Its multiplicity will be 12 lines. A triplet for CH3, triplet for CH2, 12 lines for middle CH2. This is high resolution spectrum. High resolution spectrum, we may observe 12 lines for middle CH2. In the low resolution spectrum, we observe 1 plus 2 triplet for this, 1 plus 2 triplet for this. Now, it coupled with 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 1, sextet. So, this is the low resolution spectrum. Now, in the low resolution spectrum, we can see only 6 lines for CH2, but in the high resolution, the same proton appear with 12 lines. Here, some lines are overlapped, and hence it look like a sextet, but actually it should have 12 lines. So, this can be seen only in the high resolution spectrum. So, low resolution to high resolution can be achieved with the application of external magnetic field or increasing the application of external magnetic field. So, this is about a simplification of complex NMR spectrum by 4 methods. Number 1, double resonance. Number 2, use of lanthanide shift reagents. Number 3, NOE effect, application of NOE effect. Number 4, increasing application of field strength, that is increasing the application of external magnetic field to get the simple spectrum or high resolution NMR spectrum. Now, you have another technique which already covered in your first semester, that is deuterium exchange technique. Which already we discussed in the first semester. However, it is also included in the second semester under the simplification of complex NMR spectrum. Now coming to deuterium exchange technique. Now in the deuterium exchange technique, particularly this technique is used for the identification or determination of a labile protons. That is the proton which can be easily exchanged from the molecule to the other. It's called as labile proton, like OH proton, like NH2 proton, like a carboxylic acid proton, like SH proton. A proton can be easily exchanged from the molecule with other are called as labile proton. So this technique is useful for the determination of presence or absence of labile protons, and it also sometimes applicable for the simplification of complex spectrum. Now let us see, in this technique a sample is treated first with deuterated water D2O. If the sample consisting of any labile proton, those protons are exchanged with deuterium, therefore a signal related to the labile proton get disappeared in the spectrum. A sample is treated first with deuterated water, where if sample consisting of a labile proton, those protons are exchanged with a deuterium, hence the signal related to the protons, labile proton, it is exchanged because its signal get disappeared in the spectrum. For example, you take CH3, CH2, OH, ethyl alcohol, A proton, B proton, C proton, a triplet for A, quintet for B, triplet for C. Now, its spectrum, a triplet of OH, quintet of CH2, and again triplet of CH3, A, B, C. Now, if it is treated with deuterated water, D2O, what happens? This OH proton get exchanged with deuterium to give CH3, CH2, OD. Instead of OH, the hydrogen get exchanged with deuterium. Instead of hydrogen, oxygen bear deuterium. Now you see, A proton, B proton, one set of proton is disappeared, exchanged. Now coming to multiplicity, A 1 plus 2 triplet. The A multiplicity will be triplet. B multiplicity 1 plus 3 quartet. Now its spectrum, a quartet, a triplet. This is A, this is B. Now you see the differences. Initially, C proton is there with the triplet, B proton with the multiplicity of quintet, A proton with the multiplicity of triplet. Now you see, because of exchange, because of disappearance, one signal, C proton signal, get disappeared in the spectrum, indicated a presence of labile proton. Because of its exchange, its signal, the signal related to the exchanged proton is disappeared. So disappearance of signal from the spectrum indicated the presence of labile proton. Is it clear? Further, its exchange leads to reducing the multiplicity of its adjacent. The exchange of labile proton not only leading to the disappearance of its signal in the spectrum, it also leads to decrease the multiplicity lines for its adjacent. Its adjacent is CH2 in ethyl alcohol, where the CH2 signal appearing initially as quintet. Because of its disappearance, its multiplicity is reduced to quartet. Quintet get reduced to quartet. As the number of lines in the multiplicity get reduced, the spectrums are becoming a simplified or simple spectrums. Similarly, you take CH3, CH2, NH2. ethylamine, A proton, B proton, C proton, 1+2 triplet for this. Now it coupled with 3 proton and 2 proton, 5 proton, so it is sextet. It has triplet, 1+2 triplet. A triplet for NH2, a sextet for CH2, again triplet for A proton, A, B, C. Now when it is treated with deuterated water, what happens? The 2 protons of NH2, as they are labile, are exchanged to give CH3, CH2, N, deuterium and deuterium. Both the protons get exchanged with deuterium, resulted this molecule where it has only 2 sets of proton, A and B proton. A triplet, 1+2 triplet, B 1+3 quartet. The multiplicity get reduced, so that you see a C proton signal is disappeared, as the final product not existed a protons of nitrogen on nitrogen. So C proton signal is disappeared, and B proton signal is appeared as quartet. A proton is appeared as triplet. You observe the difference between these two. What happens? 3 signals are reduced to 2 signals. So few signals are eliminated or disappeared, which are related to the labile proton due to their exchange with deuterium. Now, after that, the multiplicity for middle CH2 proton is reduced from sextet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sextet to 6 line is reduced to 4 line. So multiplicity get reduced to quartet. So a simple triplet and quartet is appeared. So deuterium exchange not only leads to decrease the number of signals, it also leads to reduce the multiplicity for adjacent with respect to labile proton. So in brief, we may get a simple spectrums. More number of signals to less number of signals. If more number of signals are appear, a possibility of complexity to the NMR. If less number of signals are appear, a complexity will be reduced slowly. So this is about deuterium exchange technique. So with this, all the techniques were covered. So with this, a simplification of complex NMR spectra topic is completed. Now in the next class, we are going to discuss about the application of second order NMR spectrum regarding discrimination of enantiomers. Now you have only 2 topics left over in the proton NMR of second semester. All the other topics were covered. One topic is regarding the discrimination of enantiomers, and then fluxinol molecule, study of fluxinol molecule by proton NMR. So these are the 2 topics left over, discrimination and study of fluxinol molecules. These 2 topics will be covered in the next lecture. After that, one lecture is needed for the study of fluorine NMR spectroscopy. Principle, everything is the same, only its application is different. One lecture is required for fluorine NMR study. One lecture is required for phosphorus NMR, phosphorus nuclear NMR spectroscopy. Then another lecture is required for the study of solid state NMR. So you have total 4 topics left over. One is discrimination of NMR and study of fluxinol molecule in the proton NMR spectrum. So it requires 1 class. The second class is required for the study of fluorine. Third class is required for the study of phosphorus. Fourth class is required for the study of solid state NMR. So in brief, with the 4 lectures, coming 4 lectures, the second semester NMR spectroscopy chapter will be closed or completed. So with this, I conclude today's lecture. I think you all are well studied and well following with my lecture. Thank you one and all.